2020 meeting of the Greenwood Board of Public Works and Safety to order at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please, Amanda.
Mr. Hoover?
Here.
Mr. Rutherford?
Here.
Mr. Colvin?
Here.
Thank you.
Minutes of the regular session of December 7, our last meeting, have been distributed to members of the board. Any corrections or additions or deletions from staff? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
I move for approval.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin. Seconded by Mr. Rutherford. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. First on our agenda tonight is Sam Rogan. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Sam?
It is Rogan.
Rogan, okay. You've got a fence encroachment request. Please tell us what you'd like to do.
Basically, we are wanting to install a 6-foot privacy fence in our new home, and it will ease into the encroachment in order to give us more room in our yard. We're eventually going to have a pool back there, which won't be in the encroachment, but hoping to have as much space as possible. That's it in a nutshell.
Sam, have you received a memo from Jeff Weaver regarding this matter?
Not to my knowledge, I have not.
Okay.
I know I reached out to all of the utilities per requested and gave them notice, but I have not heard anything from Mr. Weaver.
Okay, well, we know you've done that, and we also know that you've received an approval letter from the HOA. The engineering division, that's who Mr. Weaver works for, has made some recommendations to us, 3 in particular, and that I'm just going to kind of read those to you and I have to make certain that they're okay with you. First is that the encroachment be constructed to allow for adequate drainage, and if it's determined by the engineering division of the city or the stormwater department that a drainage issue has been caused, you will be responsible to correct said drainage issue. Did you understand that?
I do understand and accept.
Okay. Next was that if there's any work that needs to be done within the easement by any of the utilities or the city, you will be responsible for removal and replacement of your fence at your sole expense, and you further hold the city and the utilities harmless for any damage they might do to your fence. Do you understand that one, Sam?
I understand and accept.
Thank you. And the last one, the simplest, that you call Indiana 811 prior to installing any fence so that all the buried utilities can be marked. Will you do that?
I certainly will, and that's the law.
Is there any other questions for Sam or for Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Hoover, I actually have just one clarification on this.
Okay, Daniel.
In the graphic there, I guess on the right half of the graphic, the plot plan, specifically the bottom half, although the text is upside down, it shows it to be a 10-foot drainage and utility easement. We double-checked the reported plat for estates at Rock Lane Ridge Section 1, and that is actually a 20-foot drainage and utility easement. So just wanted to clarify that minor thing. But other than that, no other issues with this fence encroachment request.
Okay, so it looks like maybe that might be an issue that that Sam will need to talk with you about when he puts his pool in. Is that correct?
Good point.
Right. Yeah. In the future, yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, is there a motion to approve this encroachment request?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Seconded by Mr. Colvin. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
We lose Mr. Hoover.
There, do you hear me? Kenny, you're up.
Okay.
Has joined the meeting.
I come before the board tonight to ask the board to approve a contract to allow Great Lakes Chloride Incorporated to sell us a product called Apex Sea Meltdown, which is basically liquid salt that kicks our salt in, lets it work at a lower temperature, like 8 to 10 degrees lower, which helps us in our ice fighting and stuff. I need 9,000 gallons at $1.38 a
Sam
gallon.
Rogan.
Has left the meeting.
And it'll cost $12,420 to fill up the tank at Cutsinger. And I was just asking for that and see if we couldn't get them filled.
Any questions for Kenny?
Kenny, how big are the tanks out there at the new facility?
Out there, it's 10,000 gallons. And I got one over here, it's 10,000 gallons. Sounds like a lot, but those trucks, they can hold like 60 gallons in each tank or so, some a little more. So we go through a good jag of this, really. Once we get the electric hooked up out there, I need this to fill it up so trucks don't have to run to this side of town. And I think it's going to work out better having the two bigger tanks.
Do you have the salt in the tank currently?
No,
At the other barn?
We don't have any salt. None of the liquid salt's in. Now the barn's got 380 tons in it, but the liquid salt doesn't have any because we need to get the electric on there, run a little bit of water and make sure it don't have leaks, and then we'll be good to go.
I meant, do you have any at the original barn? The
Yes,
other barn?
we do. We got some here. I'm sorry.
Okay. We have a contract in front of us, gentlemen. What's your pleasure?
I've moved that we approve the contract with Great Lakes Chloride.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Colvin, seconded by Mr. Rutherford. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you and have good holidays.
Thanks, Kenny. You too. Next, we're going to go to Matt Murdoch. Talk about the Dollar General on State Road 135. Evening, Matt.
Get it. Thanks for that.
What are we doing here?
Looking for a waiver for the maintenance guarantee on this project. I'm the operations manager over at TN Construction Management. So built this store, believe it wrapped up in 2014. And quite frankly, no one closed out the bond. So finally kind of just, I got thrown into it to try to get this thing wrapped up so that the developer didn't continue just paying to renew this bond every year. Met with Brock and Paul Pioni to basically, at this development, we put in a perimeter sidewalk, and just seeing with the within a time it's been since this project's been done, if we could waive that maintenance guarantee per Brock's inspection. And looks like he inspected everything. We did find 3 sections of cracked sidewalk that we did go ahead and tear out and replace a month ago. And then Mr. Pioni had us add a stop sign at the exit of the parking lot going out to Meridian Meadows that was not on the original plan set. So I just provided documentation to those folks of all that work. So just, like I said, looking for a waiver on that to go ahead and close out that bond.
Daniel, it looks like your office is recommending that we grant the waiver as requested. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct for the waiver. And then also to acknowledge the completion of all of the private work that was part of this project, to accept it, and then also to or accept the sidewalk installed in the public right-of-way, and then to release the performance guarantee for this project as well.
Well, I'll make that motion that we acknowledge completion of the improvements, accept the sidewalk, and release the performance bond, all pursuant to Paul Peoni's memo dated today.
I'll second that.
Mr. Colvin seconded. Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks, Matt. Have a good evening.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Doug Wagner, are you here?
I am here.
Well, good to see you. Hey, the Preserve at South Lake, Section 12. What are we doing, Doug?
Well, I've got a couple bonds. One is for erosion control. The other one for the asphalt surface, common area sidewalks, and the center line and perimeter monumentation. So I'm asking for acceptance of the improvements and then release of the maintenance or the permit or performance bonds that are associated with that work, and acceptance of the 2 maintenance bonds that have been provided to the city of engineering. Or the city of engineering.
Daniel, again, it looks like we've got a memo from Paul Piano that recommends approval of Mr. Wagner's request. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. No other issues or conditions associated with this.
I'll move for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford.
Second.
Mr. Colvin seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day and be safe.
Same to you. Now we're going to move on to Caleb Sondergrath at South Tech Park. Caleb, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good evening. Or good afternoon, whatever it is. South Tech Park, Building 1. What's going on?
We're just asking for acknowledgement of the completion of improvements for the parking expansion at South Tech Park, Building 1, as well as releasing the performance guarantees. We've got an email from Paul. We've got everything in hand. They've had inspection by Brock and Jeff and Jill Asbilt, so I think we should have everything we need.
Okay. We've got that same memo from Paul Peony. What's the pleasure of the board?
I would move for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin. Seconded by Mr. Rutherford. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thanks, Caleb. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Next, we turn to the audience. Is there anyone in the audience that
Has left the meeting.
would like to address us this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to Mr. Hodson with his status of task. Sam, good evening.
Good evening, Kevin. IDM reports filed, all's well with IDM. The first contract I have for you is a second amendment to the contract with Reliable Construction, and this is for the addition of an additional gate.
Okay. Questions for Sam on this? It's the amount of $1,352. Is that correct, Sam?
That is correct.
Okay.
I'd move for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin. I'll second that. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
My next item is, and my only other item, is a contract with Certified Lawn Care, and this is for maintenance of the grassy areas in median, and it is $5,240 entire year.
Sam, after looking at that, I understand most of them except Madison Avenue. Where on Madison Avenue are we having lawn care? I can't picture it.
I don't exactly where we would do that either. Oh no, didn't we create some grassy areas when we put the trail east of the trail?
I think so.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
I wasn't sure.
And I suppose we'll have some at some point at 523, but probably not yet. Okay. Well, any other questions for Sam about the contract with Certified?
I'll move for approval.
Thank you, Shan.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Colvin. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
That's all I have.
Sam, we did have the closeout report for litigation. Is that just something you want to give us that you're giving to the council?
I'm not up to speed on that, Kevin. So I really can't give you a close.
Okay, it looks like they're all closed out, and if Shan or Jeff have any questions, they probably should refer those to Sergey or Shauna at some point. We'll move on.
Yeah, I just was not briefed on it.
Okay.
Sorry, Sam. That was just us checking dormant files that we had on our litigation. So mainly these were mortgage foreclosures that have been finalized.
Okay. Sam, have a good evening. Have a good Christmas, and I'll talk to you before then.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll move on now to Mr. Johnston, City Engineer status of task. First one is crew car wash, it looks like, Daniel.
That's correct. This is just really straightforward. It's on behalf of the Stormwater Department. The O&M manual for water quality is in order, and so they are requesting, and we recommend that the board authorize the mayor, deputy mayor to sign on the board's behalf the operations and maintenance manual for water quality for this project.
Questions for Daniel? I'll move that we approve the authorization of the mayor or deputy mayor to sign the O&M manual on the board's behalf.
Second.
I'll second.
Yeah.
I heard Mr. Colvin first, so I'll go with that. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next is associated with the Greenwood Business Center. Yeah, there's the graphic. There it is on the right-hand side. And so this is related to accepting the warranty deed, transferring the right-of-way. There you go in the highlighted area on screen, transferring that right-of-way for Commerce Parkway West from the Greenwood RDC to the Greenwood Board of Works.
Questions for Daniel on this one? I'll move that we approve acceptance of the warranty deed for the Commerce Parkway West Drive from the RDC.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Rutherford. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Do we need to worry about who signs that? I guess not. That's going to be the RDC stuff. Okay.
I think that's correct. And then my last item is related to the community crossing. Excuse me. Community Crossings matching grant fund project. The city was recently awarded $1 million, or roughly 50% of construction costs for the 4 streets that you see on screen now. These will be under construction next summer. But what we're doing tonight is requesting the board to approve and authorize the mayor to sign on the board's behalf the NDOT LPA agreement associated with this project. We hope to have bids out in February, March, springtime area, and then proceeding with construction in late spring.
And Daniel, just to make certain I'm reading this correctly, the $1 million grant that we're looking for is the 50% max.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Questions for Daniel about this? Pleasure of the board.
Move for approval.
I'll second it.
Mr. Colvin, seconded by Mr. Rutherford. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. Have a good evening. Mr. Wright.
Yes, I have a item I want to share here. So this is related to to the sewer rates, and what we're looking for this evening on the sewer rates is to have the Board of Works make a recommendation to council to give a positive recommendation on these rates. I know we sent out the presentation that'll be made to council. I don't think it's necessary to go through all the history with the board here. You guys have pretty much heard it all as it happened. What I did want to point out, the screen you see in front of you right now, I'm assuming you all can see that screen, shows where at the last rate study, the 2016 rates, where we would be if we did not have the settlement with Citizens that is increasing our rates for going forward. So you'll see the old rate of 76 cents per 1,000 gallons for treatment. We had that rate for a good 30 years. When Citizens bought Indianapolis's sewer treatment, that's when things changed, and ours, we had to negotiate a settlement that started increasing ours. But what you see here is that we actually are showing that we, on the 2016 rates, could actually afford to continue operations if it were not for the Citizens increase. We'd have a couple of years where we spent more than what came in the door, but for the most part, we would be keeping revenues coming in on that. But when you get to our new rates for treatment, which in 2021 we'll be paying almost $1.42, by 2025 we'll be paying $2.48.5. This number is the last one that is set in stone by the agreement. After that, they have 4 years to raise us in equal increments up to whatever their current cost of service is. In 2017, when that was done, the agreement was done, the cost of service was $5.76. I'm assuming it has gone up because they are digging a giant tunnel in Indianapolis. So that number that we will be going to after that will probably be quite a bit higher. So the reason we're coming to you, as you can see, is that our revenues are insufficient now to fund 2021 going forward because of the change in our treatment costs. So the rates we would be proposing to council and that we're asking you to give a positive recommendation on are this. What it works out to is, in the first year, a 25% increase, and then each of the following years, a 5% increase. The main reasoning on this is that we do have a minimum level we have to maintain for bonds that as far as reserves go. And so this will make sure that we are covered on that. And then we can do the 5% just to keep up basically with Citizens from there on out. This graph right here says impact of treatment expense. So the yellow line is what our treatment expense would be at the old rate. The blue line is what the treatment expense is projected to be going forward. We have been increasing the amount that we've been sending for treatment every year as we add customers and grow. So not only are the rates going up, but the amount we're treating is going up. So you can see that really before we get to the end of 25, the cost of treatment alone becomes more than all of the rest of the costs of operating the utility. There are some other things going on right now to try and mitigate some of this. You'll see those coming about in the next couple of years. We did want to show you comparison-wise, Plainfield and Bargersville currently are lower. They're also much smaller communities. They also have their own treatment plants, and so they control that treatment cost. This is where the new rates would put us, and we would be lower than Westfield and Indianapolis, both of which are under Citizens. The goal of the agreement we had basically is to bring our treatment costs in line with this cost right here from Indianapolis. So we would pay for our wholesale treatment the same thing that that a customer in Indianapolis is paying for their residential treatment. Finally, we've got statewide average versus the city of Greenwood. Going back to 1990, we've been below the statewide average. You can see that it has climbed some, especially after we had the agreed order with IDEM, where we had to start doing some things to stop the overflows. And then you see this is where our new rates would take us, but we would still actually stay below the current statewide average, which is currently growing around 8% per year. So finally, residential monthly bills, what we would be looking at for a low-end user, 3,000 gallons, you're probably talking single person household, maybe 2 people on fixed income household. Their 3,000 gallons would currently be costing them almost $38. It would go to $47.36 in 2021, and then increase each of the next years, total of just under $20 increase over 5 years. If you're 7,000 gallons, maybe you've got a household with a couple of kids, probably teenagers taking really long showers. So you've got a jump from 58 to 73 in the first year. And then after the 5 years, it's a total increase of $30 and change. So what I would request of the board is that you would recommend these rates positively to council so that when we present it to them this evening, they have your recommendation.
Do we have any choice?
Well, we don't have anywhere else we can send it. So I guess the other choice is it starts backing up into the houses, but they won't take it if we don't pay them.
Sure.
But we are doing some things to try and mitigate that as well.
Sure.
That'd be good. That'd be good. That adds up for especially folks on fixed incomes.
Unfortunately, I don't see any alternatives, immediate alternatives. So I'd move that we recommend the proposed sewer rate increases pursuant to this analysis to the Greenwood Common Council for approval.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we don't have any choice, really, guys.
Yeah.
Other than build our own treatment plant, and that's something that I believe the administration is possibly looking at. But that's very possible.
One of the options we're looking at. My final item this evening is consideration of a service agreement with Baker Tilly for arbitrage monitoring services. This is on our bonds that were just refunded. The 2010 bonds that we refunded, basically the arbitrage is something we have to file with the IRS, proving to them that we didn't take the bond proceeds and use them to invest in something else and make money and interest off of them that exceeded the interest costs that we paid on the bonds. So it's, if we did earn more interest on the proceeds than what we were paying out, we would owe taxes to the IRS on it. So they do all the calculations to prove to them that we did not earn anything and file all of that for us.
Is there a motion to approve this addendum?
And for the mayor,
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Rutherford. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Greg, before we leave you, I want to go back to, we have before us resolution, it's titled 20-011, which is the recommendation resolving to recommend to the council that for the approval of the sewer rate analysis. Amanda, shouldn't that be resolution number 20-11? Or how do you do that?
It is 20-11. I can make sure that it's changed before it's signed.
Okay. And I guess I'd make the motion that we pass resolution 20-11 pursuant to our prior discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Colvin seconded. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 We'll show it that's passed 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg. Mr. Rutherford, it's your turn.
Well, I would move that we approve the claims as presented.
Second.
Mr. Colvin seconded. Thank you very much. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And I guess I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and other happy holidays and a good New Year. And we'll stand adjourned at 6:01 p.m.
Well, wish you all Merry Christmas too.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Take care, all.